The envelope arrived on a Tuesday morning, the kind of ordinary day that usually passes without leaving fingerprints on memory. I almost missed it. It was tucked between a bank statement and a grocery flyer, its ivory surface glowing faintly against the dull white of the other mail. Thick, textured, expensive. The kind of envelope that doesn't just contain news, it announces it. I picked it up. It was heavier than paper should be. My name was written across the front in dramatic looping handwriting I hadn't seen since childhood birthday cards. Mom's handwriting. That alone told me two things immediately. This wasn't casual. Whatever was inside wasn't optional. I slid a finger under the seal. The flap opened slowly, like it knew I wasn't going to like what it had to say. Inside was a card so ornate it practically shimmered. Gold embossed lettering. Embossed border. Silk ribbon. I read it once. Then again. Then a third time. You are cordially invited to the wedding celebration of Alina Rahman. Beneath the elegant print, in bold ink that cut through the page like a command. Family contribution required. $250,000. Meeting Friday 2 p.m. No greeting. No question. No, can you help? Just a number. And a time. I leaned back in my chair slowly, staring at the words like they might rearrange themselves into something sane if I gave them enough time. They didn't. The wrong kind of silence. My office was quiet, not empty quiet but focused quiet. The kind filled with keyboard clicks, low voices from conference rooms, the distant hum of servers doing exactly what they were built to do. This building existed because of 8 years of my life. 8 years of 3 a.m. debugging. 8 years of rejected proposals. 8 years of ramen dinners and unpaid weekends. 8 years of betting on myself when nobody else would. Outside my glass office wall, my employees worked. Engineers, analysts, developers, project managers. 287 people whose paychecks depended on decisions I made every single day. And according to my family, this was all just a piggy bank. I picked the card up again. $250,000. They hadn't asked if I could. They had assumed I would. That assumption told me more about how they saw me than anything they could have said out loud. The memory that came back uninvited. There's a specific kind of memory that shows up only when it wants to hurt you. Mine arrived right then. I was 19 again. Sitting at the kitchen table. Laptop open. Nervous. I'm leaving university, I'd said. Mom froze. Dad didn't even look up from his newspaper. To do what? He asked. Start a software company. Silence. Then laughter. Not mean laughter. Worse. Dismissive laughter. The kind adults use when a child says they want to become an astronaut chef superhero. Dad folded the paper carefully and said the sentence that followed me for years. Playtime ends eventually. That day I learned something important. If people don't understand your dream, they'll shrink it until it fits inside their comfort zone. Back to the present. I turned the card over. Nothing else written. No love. No excitement. No please. Just logistics. I checked the time. 11:42 a.m. Friday was 3 days away. 3 days for them to assume I'd already agreed. 3 days for them to spend money they didn't have. 3 days before I walked into that room and decided exactly what kind of man I was going to be. My phone buzzed. Alina, did you get the invite? Isn't it gorgeous? Smiling face with hard eyes. I stared at the message. Typed nothing. Another buzz. Mom, don't be late Friday. We already did most of the planning. Already did. Of course they had. Why wouldn't they? After all, they weren't paying. The empire they never saw. I stood and walked to the window overlooking the city. 8 years ago I'd stood on a different street, staring at a tiny rented office above a mechanic shop, holding a second-hand desk and wondering if I'd just ruined my life. Now, 12 offices, 5 states, $50 million annual revenue, a multi-year government contracts, a waiting list of clients. But to my family, I still worked on computers. Funny thing about success. Strangers measure it in numbers. Family measures it in how much they think they can take. The first call. At 12:03 p.m. my phone rang. Dad. I let it ring twice before answering. Hello. There he is, he said, cheerful in that rehearsed way people sound when they're about to ask for something. Got the invitation? I did. Beautiful, right? Your mother went all out. It's detailed. He chuckled. Well, weddings only happen once. We want it perfect for your sister. There it was. Not we hope. Not we'd appreciate. We want. I stayed quiet. Silence makes people reveal themselves. He continued, lowering his voice like we were business partners discussing a transaction. So Friday we'll go over the numbers. Just formalities really. We know you'll take care of it. Take care of it. Like it was already done. Friday, I said calmly, we'll talk. Good man, he said satisfied. Knew we could count on you. The call ended. I stared at the phone for a long time after. Not angry. Not shocked. Just clear. Crystal clear. The first crack. At 2:15 p.m. my assistant knocked gently. Sorry to interrupt, she said. Finance flagged something. Rumors are spreading that we might be restructuring. My head turned slowly. Restructuring? Yes. Someone's saying layoffs are coming. My chest tightened. Who started it? Not sure yet. I nodded once. Find out. She left. I sat there, unmoving. Rumors in a company spread like smoke. Fast, silent, suffocating. And suddenly I understood something chilling. If I agreed to what my family wanted, that rumor wouldn't be a rumor. It would be truth. 300 people. 300 lives. All balancing on a decision my relatives thought was about flower arrangements. The message that changed everything. At 5:47 p.m. another text arrived. Alina. We booked the venue today. It's stunning. Deposit due Saturday. Don't forget Friday meeting Redheart. Deposit due Saturday. So they'd already committed money. Without asking me. Meaning one thing. They weren't hoping I'd say yes. They were planning around it. I leaned back in my chair and laughed softly. Not amused. Not bitter. Just amazed. They hadn't asked if I would fund the wedding. They had scheduled me to. Decision. I picked up my phone. Scrolled. Stopped at a contact name. Farah, CFO. I called. She answered on the first ring. Everything okay? I need a presentation. What kind? One that explains exactly what my company is worth, to people who think it's a hobby. Pause. Then a quiet smile in her voice. When do you need it? Friday. 2 p.m. Another pause. Understood, she said. I'll prepare something educational. I ended the call. Outside my office, the lights of the building glowed steady and bright. Work continued. Projects moved forward. Deadlines approached. Futures depended. And somewhere across town, my family was picking napkin colors with money they believed already belonged to them. I looked down at the wedding card one last time, then slid it into a drawer. Friday, I said softly to the empty room. Let's make sure everyone understands the price of a fantasy.